Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I'm telling Wizards, you need to give these tribes some love because these tribes have been ignored for far too long. Not only do they not have, well, a good amount of support, but they also don't even have a commander. And everyone who's going to comment right now like, Morophon counts. No, Morophon does not count. I know it's a changeling, and technically it's every creature type, but come on. We need some dedicated commanders to these tribes. Let's jump into it. So first up, Thrulls. That's right, Thrulls. I'm doing an episode where I'm talking about a Thrull, and one that needs to be made right now. We got Zulkis, Thrull of Fate. Look how adorably evil this thing is. It's just like sitting on a tiny little throne with a tiny little crown being like, hi, I'm ready to take you all out. Anyways, a 1/1 Thrull God, because that needs to be a thing right now, Wizards. For a single black mana. That's right, just one mana to get this commander out. And it says sacrifice it. So you see this cute little thing you get into play, and then you sacrifice it, and what happens when you do? For each time you've cast your commander for the command zone this game, you create a 1/1 black Thrull creature token named Blood Pet. It has sacrifice Blood Pet, add black. So Blood Pet is a very, very old card. I mean, I remember that from my childhood. That was, I think I remember like one of like the 7th edition or 8th edition or something like that. Someone's going to comment below. It's like, it wasn't in those. Sometime around then, okay? It's a very simple card. It's just a simple 1 mana. Hey, all right, I'm in play. Cool, I'm a 1/1. Oh no, I'm sacrificed and you use me for mana, essentially. It's like a ritual effect in a way, but you're not really like gaining mana that turn, obviously. You're just kind of getting the mana back that you used. Or you save mana for the next turn in a way. Which is very nice. And with this, again, you are building up more and more and more Thrulls. There are only so many Thrulls out there, okay? So when we're making a commander for Thrulls, we need one that encapsulates what Thrulls do. And Thrulls are like, hey, throw me away when you don't need me. And this one's like, okay, throw me away, and then make a bunch of Thrulls that can also be thrown away for mana. So essentially what you can do with this commander is, of course, get it out. Sacrifice it. Make a Thrull that you sacrifice for mana. Then you get it out again. You make 2 Thrulls this time, and then 3, and then 4. So essentially, you're kind of getting like half the mana amount back that you're putting into this. Well, no, I mean, the number's a bit different than that, but when it comes to commander attacks, you're getting half the amount of mana back, but you're kind of like building up bigger and bigger and bigger rituals in a way. And also, of course, you're in black. You can utilize like amazing aristocrat sacrifice triggers to say, hey, okay, when a creature dies, I do this. I drain my opponents. I gain life. I get card advantage. I get other random effects as well that are really fun. But yes, you can do that. You can have a Thrull army that you could take over the game with. Sure, you could probably like pump them, maybe, I don't know, or do some things. But yes, most likely, maybe an aristocrat style deck where you drain your opponents out like Zulport, Cutthroat. I think this could be a really fun one where, again, it's kind of like a built-in ritual effect in a way, essentially, out of the command zone that you keep building further and further and further. Yeah, and of course, you can really take advantage of this with some like feign death type effects to like sacrifice it, but then it comes right back into play. Then you can re-sacrifice it, comes right back into play. You do a lot of crazy things with that. Like, I was going to say persist, but persist, this will just die unless you have like an anthem in play. But yeah, Undying, that would work with this too. Regardless, I think Thrulls need some love, Wizards, okay? We've got like, I don't know, umpteenth, dragon commander that we've seen. Some human commanders, boring, all right? We just got some more Eldrazi commanders, sure. But come on, what the people really want, what the players really want out there are Thrulls, blood pets everywhere. That's what we want. So please make Zulkis Thrull of Fate. Next up, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but yeah, I actually made these cards, obviously, so that's why we're discussing them in this way. And thank you, MTG.design, for existing. You're a fantastic resource for making custom cards. If you haven't used that site, make sure you do. It's amazing. Anyways, bulk as Belligerent Brushwag, a 1/1 Brushwag warrior with haste and trample that costs 4 green, or I guess technically it's like 4 and a green, but green is technically how you'd say that, right? Whenever you activate an ability of a creature that isn't a mana ability, bulk has Belligerent Brushwag gets ++1 until end of turn. Whenever it attacks other Brushwag creatures you control, get +X/+X until end of turn. X is Bulkaz's power. Yeah, I think this is kind of, well, it's like cute but ugly again. Like just a tiny little dude, but it's like, oh my goodness, it's absolutely terrifying. Yes, so Brushwags, I think there's 4 in Magic now, I believe, after we get that, like, ooze Brushwag thing that's just, like, disgusting looking, but, yeah, it looks kind of like that. It's like, look at its face is like, why do I exist? Yeah, this one's more so like, I'm going to tear your face off. Maybe it's going to tear that Brushwag's face off. Regardless, yeah, we need a legendary Brushwag. Like, we have got the almighty Brushwag, but come on, we need this belligerent one. Brushwags need to be a force in Commander. You need to fear the name of Brushwag when it comes into play and be like, oh no, a Brushwag warrior that shall just destroy the entire table. I mean, again, haste, trample, so it can swing right away and go over players. Well, not right away because, you know, it's only a 1/1, but of course you can gain more and more and more power. And did I or did I not get inspired by another card out there? Maybe Crackdown Construct? Absolutely I did. Have I built an entire deck around that janky card? Absolutely I have. I tweaked it slightly because it's only activating abilities of creatures that aren't mana abilities. So essentially when you're activating those abilities, you get to pump this commander. So get a bunch of creatures in play and make it so that you have, well, a lot of opportunity to activate those creatures. Maybe creatures that have activate abilities that you can activate more than once in a turn, like you can dump mana into something and keep activating it again and again and again. Or if you want to kind of get janky, broken, weird, you know, you can actually do that with, yeah, like some untap effects as well. Like you could just use like, is it, gosh, what's the scout? Oh, goodness gracious. Well, there's like tap, untap target creature, and it could just keep untapping itself. So there are some infinite combination possibilities for this really janky commander. Of course, you don't have to go in that direction, but you can. But yes, being able to hastily swing over an opponent, activate your creatures a lot, utilize their abilities, and swing and hit. And of course, while you're doing so also, if you've got the other Brushwags in the deck, they're kind of like secondary commanders in a way when your commander's in play because they're going to be hitting just as hard. Essentially, maybe even harder potentially. But yeah, +X, where X is this creature's power. So pump all your creatures before combat, go swing, pump everything, and all of a sudden hit for a lot. And I will mention with this, and I guess with the other tribes that don't have a lot of representation in Magic, like Brushwags, there are, I believe, again, 4 in total in Magic. This would be the 5th, I believe. Yeah, you could use Changelings, so there you go. So Changelings could help out with that, being Brushwags themselves, essentially. And then there's going to be the argument again in the comments, but like, well, then Morophon counts. It's like, okay, fine. Yes, we already have a Brushwag commander, but we need a dedicated Brushwag like this one that's all about the Brushwag, all about starting off small, becoming an unstoppable force, sometimes infinitely unstoppable. Yeah, this is a very spicy thing. Come on, Brushwags, we need it. We need Brushwags. Let's jump on to the next one. Next up, let's get weird. Now, you might be saying, Mitch, we already kind of got weird. We talked about Thrulls and Brushwags. So what's weirder than that? How about a ship? That's right. No, not a vehicle. No, not a vehicle. I don't know if you knew this, actually, but before there were vehicles, we already kind of had vehicles that weren't vehicles, if that makes any sense. And now, you can't exactly Oracle tag this because, Oracle tag it. You can't exactly search on Scryfall, I should say, because the Oracle text has been changed. But you can just type in, why don't you go ahead if you want to do that, type it in search, for a creature type, which is Thran, which is, old school Magic, like, oh my gosh, they were so developed and then this stuff happened. Anyways, so Thrans, a couple of those cards, I believe like 2 or 3 of them actually are like ships. Like, they are like an actual ship. It's not actually the creatures on the ship. It is the ship itself. That being said, Wizards has errated that to now it's like, no, that's a Thran. It's a Thran. It's not a ship. Not a ship. Definitely not. Or like, skeleton ship or pirate ship, like those cards. Like, no, those are pirates. Nope, they're not. They're not vehicles. Vehicles cannot be creatures. Nope. Here's the thing. Hypothetically, again, if this is like a hyper-evolved civilization, they probably have self-driving vehicles, right? So, like, can't the ship just be a creature without having to be piloted? Yeah, it definitely can. And back in the day in Magic, we had ships that were creatures, so we're bringing that back. That's right. The very first, not only Thran commander, but the very first ship commander as well. Conqueror, Halcyon Airship, a 1/1 Thran ship, because that's a thing, with flying that costs 4 mana in blue. Tap an untapped artifact you control. Conquer a Halcyon airship gets +X/+X until after X of that artifact's mana value. Tap, create an XX blue Thran creature token into play. Where, I just totally wrote that wrong. Create an XX into play. Yeah, create one, not into play. You know what I mean? Okay, anyways, where X is the number of tapped non-token artifacts you control. Excusing my mistake. My apologies on that. Basically, what this commander wants to do essentially is you get out a lot of artifacts. And no, I'm not saying you get out token artifacts because, you know what, things have gone a bit overboard in a couple of years with, the amount of clues you can make, the amount of, okay, treasures is the main thing, but still, like, you can go super wide with those. Cool. Let's put some effort into actually going wide with something, though, all right? So the artifacts that you are going to be tapping again, if they're tokens, it doesn't give you anything with this, right? It does not give you absolutely anything with this. You need to tap non-token artifacts that have a mana value to actually pump this. And you can pump this, once you flood the board with artifacts, your mana rocks can help, whatever it is, you can flood the board, and all of a sudden you can pump this, so it is a one-shot KO. On top of that, again, you can actually tap, essentially, this to make some Thran. Make some actually very large Thran that say, oh, you know what? I'm in play, I'm massive, and it's based on the number of tapped non-token artifacts you control. So the power that this can gain is based off of the total mana value of things that you're tapping, and the power that this can make is based off of the number of tapped artifacts that are, again, non-token, because I don't want to give players the option to essentially just be like, I made a bunch of clues, tap. That's not how I wanted to build this one, okay? I did not want to build this one in that way. You can definitely have, other clue commanders out there, but this is not a clue commander, although I'm sure you could do some clue things with it still. That being said, what you can do with this one, of course, is utilize this not only as a giant source of damage, again, being able to swing and hit for a ton, so maybe find a way to give it vigilance so you can still tap as well, or, of course, find ways, and there are plenty of them in blue, to untap this, to do it again, to untap this, to do it again, to untap this, to do it again, so you can make a massive army of giant Thran. So basically, get a bunch of artifacts into play, tap them, make this huge, tap this, untap it, make a huge army. Yeah, I think that could be quite fun. It's like kind of like a giant airship, and all of a sudden things are coming out of it. So instead of like the opposite, where, in vehicle form, it's like, oh, okay, things go into the airship. It's like, no, things go out of this airship. The airship's just piling in itself, and then, the Thran are going out of it. So that is what I decided to design with this one. I do think we need to bring back ships. Come on, Wizards. A ship can be a creature. Again, self-driving cars. The future is here now. And, of course, we need a Thran. So I think this solved both of it. There you go. Legendary creature that is a Thran and a ship. Let's do it. And finally, we've got a Cockatrice. Yes, that's right. So here's the thing. We have, with the Thrulls, I believe like 20 or so Thrulls in the history of Magic. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. When it comes to Brushwags, I believe there's 4. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's 4. And then when it comes to the, Thrans, not ships, because ships don't exist in Magic anymore, except for, I think, 1 uncard. There are 8 Thrans, I believe, including Oracle tags. So, I think it's all Oracle tag, actually. I don't think any of them were Thran beforehand. Regardless, Cockatrice, I think there are just 3. I'm pretty sure there's just 3. There's like a green one, a black one, and a Simic one. And so now I'm like, you know what? We're going to make this because this is what I want to do with it. Sultai. So apparently Cockatrices are now Sultai. That's just what their colors are. That's what they're going to be. I think it kind of makes sense because it's like, they're like deathy, ish, and we'll talk about what it exactly does here in a second. So there's the black, they're kind of like nature-y, so there's the green, and they can fly, so there's the blue, so whatever. Okay, anyways, a 3/3 Cockatrice with flying that costs 6 mana in Sultai. Solix, Terror of the Skies. Look how terrifying it looks, and it's like the sun setting. It's like, I'm evil. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, tap up to 3 target permanents controlled by that player and put a stun counter on each of them. Notice how I didn't say not land. I didn't say not land. I didn't do it. I went back and forth on that. Again, a stun counter means if a permanent with a stun counter on it would become untapped, move one from it instead. Whenever a stun counter is moved from a permanent, create a 1/1 black Cockatrice creature token with flying. Okay, so maybe this one's just a bit too mean. Maybe, just a little bit. No, I don't know. Is it okay? So here's the thing with this one. Yeah, this is kind of little little stacksy. Maybe I should have toned down the number of permanents. It's got to be more than one, okay? It has to be more than one. So maybe 2 is where we should have landed. It's got to be more than one, okay? So maybe 2. Regardless, I think it's kind of spicy in how it works, right? Because cockatrices are kind of like death gazy-ish in a way. Like just the fear in you is just going to stop you from being able to move, essentially. Like, that's just kind of how I picture them when it comes to like lore and such. I could be completely wrong on that, but that's just my gut feeling on them. And so with that, like stunning things, I think that makes sense. You can stun any permanent, including lands. Yes. Depending on your play group and how they want to play this though, like, yeah. But yeah, it's only 1 stun counter each, right? Yep, definitely. Except here's the thing. Well, there's a couple ways to do this. Number 1, you aren't in Boros colors, luckily, so you don't have access to a lot of double strike, though obviously you've got access to like Fire Streaker, so that can be really good with this. Being able to hit twice, again, hit the player, hit them again, all of a sudden you're stunning 6 things instead of 3. Ouch. On top of that, of course, there's this little thing called Proliferate, and once you have Proliferate effects out there, especially repeatable ones, your opponents aren't untapping any of those things that are stunned. So essentially, this is just building and building and building. It is a snowball rolling down a hill that essentially says the more and more things I get stun counters on, the harder it's going to be for my opponents to do anything with any of their things, essentially. And on top of that, I build up a giant flying army of little tiny cockatrices. So yes, being able to just fly through, take your opponents out, I think that could be quite nice. Again, 6 is kind of on the like, I'd say like higher end of commanders when it comes to like costs typically that are pretty impactful. I mean, obviously there's ones that are 7, 8, whatever. 6 is medium high. So I do think the 3, let me know in the comments below. Maybe it should be 2, okay? Maybe it should be stunning 2 permanents. I went back and forth with that, but I started off at 3. We'll see how that goes. Regardless, I think this gives you an interesting way to kind of go about playing again. You need to get this out. You need to get different ways to keep proliferating out. You need to be able to shut opponents down while also making your flying army. You can find ways to pump your army too. You're in green. You're in, I guess, Favorable Winds is in blue too. But yeah, you're in green mostly when it comes to Anthem effects. So yeah, get out there, stun some things, pump your army, control the game while controlling the skies as well. So let's stare the skies. I like how this one actually turned out. I do. I know it might seem a little bit mean, and it might be, but like a cockatrice seems like a mean kind of creature, right? Right? But now this episode is coming to a close. Comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on these 4 brand new creature designs, legendary creature designs. Do you think that these should exist? Or the reasons they shouldn't exist? You're like, that is broken. What are you doing? No, Mitch, no. That Thrull could never exist, ever. Or the Brushwag, because yeah, you could definitely go infinite with that in some ways, but come on, there's other easier ways to go infinite with commanders too that aren't just an adorably ugly Brushwag. And also, yes, a ship should be a creature type. Wizards, stop errating old things and be like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't like that anymore. We're changing it. Cephalids aren't a thing anymore. Did you hear that? Cephalids aren't going to be a thing anymore? Why, Wizards? Why? Everything's a dog that was a wolf. What? Oh, pigs can't be things, but we do have boars, but we can't have that split up, even though we've got like 18 different kinds of fish. I don't know. And birds. Yeah, okay, soapbox over, I guess. Anyways, let me know your thoughts are on these. Do you think that these could ever possibly exist? Do you think that these creature types don't need a commander? I think they do. Come on, it'd be fun to just have one. We've seen like 80 million dragon commanders, 80 million human commanders. Let's get interesting and let's have some off-the-wall crazy creature types that need some support. That's right, Cockatrice, Thran, ship as well, Brushwags, and Thrulls. Give some love to them, Wizards. Let me know your thoughts are in the comments below. And of course, as always, well, also, actually, let me know what other creature types need a commander as well. And then, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.